Great.
Yes.
Okay, well, this means that we can start. So good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining today's info session on the second call for the project on local digital twins for smart and sustainable communities. My name is Laura Galante, and I'm joined today by all colleagues from this project that were part of this consortium. So I, together with other colleagues, will be giving you a presentation on some of the new information regarding opportunities on this call. And also I will go through some of the practicalities for this webinar, and as well as what the agenda will hold for today. So, as Sarah just said, this webinar will be recorded for internal documentation and also for dissemination purposes. If you would not prefer to appear in this recording, feel free to keep your camera off and also to post questions in the chat. And our colleague Sarah will take note of these questions. So, just to give you an idea about the agenda for this webinar, we are going to give you a brief introduction again to the Local Digital Twins for Smart and Sustainable Communities project. I'm sure some of you are already familiar with this, but of course, for those of you who are new, we are going to explain this in more depth. And then we will introduce the opportunities for funding for call two, which concern three different work strands, as well as what their objectives and targets are. And we are very happy to have here today two presenters from two different cities who will be illustrating some examples in practice of how these work strands work, to give you some concrete examples as well, and for inspiration, as well as how they can work in practice. And lastly, we will be presenting the funding structure and the financial support mechanisms that go around these work strands, and so that this will concern the more practical aspects for applying. And then we will go through technical and non-technical requirements for the applications, as well as the eligibility criteria. And lastly, we will provide some presentation on some aspects that concern support and how to best make the most of the support, such as through a help desk, a matchmaking platform, getting information through the newsletter, and additional support material. So, without further ado, I would like to introduce Carl Philipp to give an introduction to the project. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. On my side, also, good morning to everyone. My name is Karl Philipp Koenigsegger. I'm the Executive Director of Open and Agile Smart Cities and Communities, and also leading the coordination team for this project. Next slide, please. So this project is being coordinated by a consortium of several partners. You can see them on the screen. It is in fact a collaboration between several different types of partners. We have research partners on board, such as the Luxembourg Institute of Science and Technology, Ghent University. There are also public sector partners, such as CEREMA, and a couple of supporting organizations also from the private sector side, knowledgeable in the domain of digital transformation and interoperability in the local and regional authorities sphere. Next slide, please. So just as a brief recap, and some of you might have heard this a couple of times before, where does LDT4SSC come from? It is in fact a project that answers to an action in the Digital Europe program, The call was out in the second half of 2024. And it is a project, an action, a grant with a grant for financial support, which means that subsidies are available to support deployments in a real life context, supported by a consortium that is actually underpinning the work of the pilots with technical and non-technical resources. The objective of this action was to consolidate all the work that has been done so far on data sharing, data spaces, interoperability, and decision-making support systems, and to move towards an ecosystem of mature local digital twins across the European Union. And of course, to have a local digital twin in itself does not mean anything. The main objective is, of course, to create evidence-based decision-making support systems that support better decision-making in the field of the challenges that local and regional authorities are confronted with. In terms of budget, there's a 20 million euro budget available, of which 17 million goes to the financial support to third parties, and 3 million euros is here to support the pilots. There are three different objectives, and they're also translated into the three different work strands. First objective is to connect data platforms and local digital twins that are already existing in order to federate at the European level the existing local digital twins. Second objective is to develop new open source, and this is an important concept also, open source pilots of local digital twin services, new local digital twins based on new use cases that are in demand at the level of local and regional authorities. And the third objective is to complement the European Local Digital Twin Toolbox that is currently in the last phase of development with complex AI-based and innovative services, including immersive technologies. Next slide, please. To put it into a picture and also in kind of a timeline, this is the largest, in large part, the ecosystem of projects that LDT4SSC is active in. All these projects, all these boxes are projects that are interconnected. So as you can see on the left-hand side, we are also operating into the ecosystem of living in EU, where the development, among other things, also of the minimal interoperability mechanisms plus the European version of the MIMS is being operated. But there's also a very strong link, of course, to the common European data spaces, and in the first place, the data space for smart and sustainable cities and communities that also provides the blueprint for the data space that is needed in order to advance towards a local digital twin. Interoperability and the European Interoperability Act, but of course also the AI Act, are highly relevant in this context. And as I mentioned, the Local Digital Twin Toolbox also provides building blocks and tools that are useful to adopt their open source tools into your pilots to advance much faster than if you would have to develop everything on your own. And then Cityverse is also a concept that is mentioned on this slide. There are currently 4 Cityverse projects that are ongoing, where immersive technologies and also virtual worlds and AI are used to open up the wondrous world of local digital twins and data spaces to citizens, businesses, and decision makers at the local and the regional level. And on the right-hand side, you can see that everything feeds into a structure, a legal entity, the LDT Cityverse EDIC, and EDIC stands for the European Digital Infrastructure Consortium. This is a new type of European instrument implementing a multi-country project, a legal entity that is actually responsible to take up all the results of the ongoing projects, maintain the most interesting results of those projects and scale them to the whole European Union. It's a collaboration of European member states at this point. This specific EDIC has 15 member states supporting, and we are in the process also of handing over certain results of the different projects. Next slide, please. So three work strands linked to the three different objectives. We already had one round of open calls behind us. Well, not really behind us, because the reviewers are in the process of taking a decision and ranking the different pilot submissions of the first open round. This first open round was only focusing or targeting work strand 1. So that's the technical interconnection of existing local digital twins. We are repeating this work strand in this second round of open call, and we're adding work strand 2, creation of new local digital twins, and work strand 3, adding new advanced AI-based capabilities to the toolbox, also with immersive technologies in this second round of open calls. But more information will follow in the next presentations about this. And I think that's it for now from my side. Back to you, Laura.
Thanks, Carl Philip. So indeed, this was a bit of an introduction, and now I'm going to delve a little bit more in depth on the different strands that Carl Philip just mentioned, which are all open for this second call. So as we see, the second call is open to all three work strands, and it's open to the following types of stakeholders, however, not limited to these kinds of stakeholders. Predominantly local, regional, and national public administrations and consortia that are part of the digital, sort of edicts, for example, European digital infrastructure. The consortia can be also composed of NGOs, nonprofits, and civil society organizations, research institutions and academia, and businesses, tech developers, and suppliers. Also, the idea behind these consortia is that there needs to be at least 2 local, regional, and national public administrations per consortia coming from 2 different countries, to ensure that interconnectedness between them is, let's say, cross-border. So the open call timeline is as follows. We have just opened it on the 2nd of February, and it'll close on the 2nd of April. The pilots, after a thorough evaluation, will be notified of the awarded consortia on the 30th of June. And the idea is that the start of the project will begin starting at the end of August. So to give you a bit of an idea regarding going through the first work strand, which is about interconnecting existing local digital twins, this work strand addresses local digital twins from communities and cities that already have a local digital twin in place. And it aims to create an interoperable EU federation of local digital twins. It aims to foster a unified data ecosystems to enhance decision-making. It also aims to connect public authorities across different countries that are also willing to share data, models, and services with other data platforms. The idea is also to support seamless data exchange and integration. And lastly, to foster the development of skills amongst all the pilot members, as well as companies that offer technical solutions for better interconnection. So why would you consider applying for Workstrand 1? So the idea to apply for Workstrand 1 is that it could enable the connection with the digital blueprints, so integrating more data and services. And by aligning your solution with other local digital twins across the EU, you'll be able to create a more robust network through this interconnection and in harmonization with other EU communities. Additionally, you can access more targeted funding, so tapping into specialized funding opportunities such as this in order to scale up this kind of project and create this more cross-border European integration. Multiplying capabilities through a federation, so boosting your city's capabilities through joining this federation, which allows you to access a wealth of data and services from across the EU, and also empowering you to develop institutional capabilities, which could otherwise be challenging to achieve on one's own. And lastly, to enhance digital security. So that means benefiting from collective expertise of European partners in order to strengthen your city's digital security by sharing threat intelligence and adopting unified security measures. You can also better protect your digital infrastructure against cyber risks. So these opportunities not only elevate your city, but also contribute to a stronger, more interconnected Europe. In terms of the scope and targets of Workstrand 2, this is about deploying new local digital twin services, but through sharing common needs. So the difference here is that really the local digital twin is actually created jointly. So Workstrand 1, as you may recall, is about having existing local digital twins in place. Workstrand 2 is about connecting local digital twins or creating one together based on common needs. So this is also about demonstrating a federation with existing LDT networks developed under Workstrand 1, and also populating the local digital twin service and asset repository with produced services and tools, and aligning with the local digital twin toolbox marketplace, developing operational LDT services and packaged assets to demonstrate use of shared data, designing outputs for replicability and transferability to document assets so they can be reused by other cities and regions across the EU, and to co-design local digital twins-based services that address shared challenges and develop measurable community benefits. We will see in a minute how this can translate in practice through a concrete example. And of course, why should you apply to Workstrand 2? This is also similarly important for securing funding to move a local digital twin from a concept to bring it into practice, and also just to understand how these challenges can be tackled through smart technologies. Additionally, the same applies to capitalize on the knowledge and expertise from other peers and learn from documented successes and failures of other partner cities so that only the most efficient strategies can be deployed. Also tapping into the EU toolbox, so getting access to a wealth of open source components, technical specifications and support from the LDT4SSC consortium. So there is also already a wealth of resources out there to use. And then lastly, to be able to create long-term alliances to form connections with private sector innovators and other kinds of public authorities to sustain this kind of digital growth. So this is already quite a bit of information regarding the first two strands of Call 2. But before we delve into Workstrand 3, we already want to sort of present a real case study that showcases the sort of borrowing from both, let's say, Workstrand 1 and 2, how it could be adopted in practice. So I would like to introduce Dr. Christoph Schubert from the city of Leipzig to present the case of interconnecting LDTs in the CUT program. Therefore, I believe that you would like to share the presentation yourself. So let me know if you need additional sharing rights. Otherwise, I will leave you the floor.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction and for the opportunity to share our experiences here. As you see, it was possible to share my screen, so you can see the presentation right now. I like to share some experiences of the Connected Urban Twins project with you. And this is a project that is coming to an end now. So we worked together with the cities of Hamburg and Munich in Leipzig for the last 5 years. And I want to talk a bit about what we have done in this project. Who am I? As you mentioned, I'm Christoph Schubert from Leipzig, from the City of Leipzig Digital City Department. This is the kind of smart city department of Leipzig. And I work a lot in digital twin and AI project, but every time with a special focus on digital rights and ethics. So Leipzig is part of the Cities Coalition for Digital Rights, and I also coordinate the activities of Leipzig within this network. But now I want to speak about digital twins. So why did we work on and with digital twins? What did we expect to gain from it? So digital twins mean for us to have the opportunity to reach out for kind of virtual copies of the city for certain use cases. And that has meant to collect all the data we can find within our administration on a certain topic and connect these data on a kind of urban data platform. From there on to create some use cases, some twins for a certain use case. But the third point you can see on this slide is that all the time we said a twin is only a twin if we are able to do with it some analysis and simulation. So it shouldn't be only a kind of visualization of the data. It should be something that integrates analysis and simulations. So as I said, it was necessary for us to collect the data within our administrations from different places and make them usable for certain or for our use cases. We also believe that digital twins mean that the outcome of a digital twin is a kind of tool for a certain use case that supports integrated urban development at the one side. And on the other side, we have a strong focus in our project that we wanted to make data and tools transparent for citizen participation, so that also the citizens can benefit from the twins or the twin applications. What if scenarios means analysis and simulations. I already spoke about that. It is a twin to have it. Connected Urban Twins, the project, as I said, it was between the three cities, Hamburg, Leipzig, and Munich. We developed every city by its own, some use cases, but we also shared the use cases with each other and debated about the infrastructure we have used or what is necessary to be able to realize certain use cases. So I think it was a very good collaboration between these three cities, and we gained much from it. You don't need to read this slide completely. What I want to show you is that creating digital twins within these three municipalities means that many actors from many different departments and organizations within the municipality needed to collaborate and to work together. If you just see the city of Leipzig in the middle, the first four departments or agencies are actors from our city administration that needed to work together to make it possible to have digital twin for the use cases I will show you later. And the last, you can see there the Scanner for Scalable Data Analytics and Artificial Intelligence. It was kind of, it is a science institute we collaborated with. This is also something we believe is very crucial to have science institutes in these projects which will create digital twins. In Leipzig, we had a situation that often from ourselves, from out of the city administrations, we were not able to realize these simulations or analysis. We needed external expertise for that, and that often was realized by our science collaborators. In all three cities, it was a way like that. What you can see here is how we organize the project itself, but it also tells you something about how we organized creating digital twins. So we had a team which had the task to create our urban data platform and to provide us the infrastructure for being able to do any use cases. We had a team of people. It is the second on the corner up right. We had a team of persons who had the task to do the use case itself, to develop the certain digital twin. We had some people who did any kind of public participation or civic participation processes. And you can see there down in the middle that the research entities were also part of the team. And at last, some people who did something about replication and knowledge transfer. That was how we created the project itself. But as I said, I think every digital twin project needs expertise from these five areas. Digital twins as a concept, I think I can skip these slides a bit. I said it now for several times. To be able to simulate is key for digital twins. We don't think that there is the one digital twin that shows us all about our city. We often speak from the plural, so from digital twins, because we believe there is a twin for every use case we want to do. All the twins have a common infrastructure, urban data platform, but every twin realizes it or manifests itself in several applications for visualization that use several simulations or analytics components. So it's a variety of infrastructure entities that need to be combined together to create a certain digital twin. That's and therefore we often use this kind of blocks to show that a twin realizes itself from existing blocks which are newly combined to the twin you need for a certain use case. I want to briefly highlight that within the project, we are a German project. We promoted and wrote a thing. It's a kind of standardization for digital twins for cities and municipalities, which is also available in English and which is the German way. Sorry for that, but it is as it is. The Germans thought they will do something on their own, and that's why we wrote these kind of standardization. But it's useful, the standardization itself is useful. At one side, it is a good thing to see which kind of use cases are possible with digital twin. And on the other side, it emphasizes a lot the interoperability of components, which is necessary to be able. It's a bit like the local digital twin toolbox. So the argument is the same. We need components which we can exchange whenever we need it. So they need interoperable. They need to be interoperable. And now I want to show you at last some of the twin use cases we did. A small thing was a kind of for social infrastructure planning tool, which allowed us to do childcare institutions planning. You can see the tool itself on the bottom. So it's a kind of dashboards where we collaborated several data. The data, where do childs actually grow in the city, in which quarters, where do we have childcare institutions, kindergartens, and so on, and then some simulations, where will we need kindergartens in the future. That was the whole idea of this small twin. I often spoke about digital participation, civic participation in all our twin use cases. We have implemented uh, civic participation processes with a tool from Hamburg. It's called the DPass, but it's as open source tool also available. Like most of the things we did, most of the things are as open source tools now available for reuse. And here you can see how we did in a case of Leipzig, the civic participation. So the idea was not only to have an online tools where the people of the city can participate online, also to have a tool which allows it to do some on-site events where you can talk to citizens and show them something on a map, and they can react to that, whatever is shown there. One bigger use case from us in Leipzig is about energy and an energy twin, and it's for planning scenarios. So the idea was to have an energy twin in the city, like a virtual meeting place and work center where all the people that work in the administration on energy related topics can come together and to share a vision, have a common view on tools and visualizations, and start working and planning from there on. So what you can see here, normally, or since now, when we needed to plan something which is energy or climate related, we needed a lot of external service providers collecting the data for us, doing some actual analysis, creating scenarios. For all that, we needed external service providers that were expensive and not that flexible. And we thought with the twin, we shall be able to do this part of planning, scenario creation, to do this by our own. And with the twins, we are now in the situation to do most of the things by our own. And what you can see here, the vision was to have a kind of, we call it Energy Atlas, and it's a tool in our geo-infrastructure system to show us several data products. I can show it on the next, I'll show it on the next slide. This is the kind of tool, one one tool from the Energy Atlas, which we uses now. It's in our GIS system, and there you can select several data about renewable energy like photovoltaics, wind, etc. And you can have some information about, is it possible to have any kind of renewable energy in a certain place. So it's about site suitability. We also have information in it about electric charging stations to do a bit of mobility planning. And with these Energy Atlas, we now have a tool which everybody in the municipality can use for planning and information scenarios. So it's exactly what I meant. Digital twins foster the possibility to work with a shared view on common information and common data. But the energy twin itself not only consists out of these energy atlas, we believe that there is, oh, I'll skip this, that there are other tools necessary to get a good picture about how energy planning, climate adaptation in the city is possible. And that was the moment where we said, okay, we don't need only the view on these map-based thing like I showed you. We also need a kind of energy transition dashboard, which says to us, how do we progress in establishing renewable energy in the city? And it uses in parts the same data like the Energy Atlas has used, but with another outcome to show some progression bar. How do we progress? Yes, and this tool also is open source, so we share it with you. I provided you some open some GitLab codes here in the presentation. Why do we do this energy twin in Germany? We need to do municipal heat planning every 5 years, and every 5 years from now on, we want to use this energy twin to provide these plannings. It's exactly what I showed you in the beginning of this use case. We don't want to need that much external service providers to do a planning. We want to be by our own in the possibility to do these plannings and scenarios. And that is what we hope to gain with these energy twin. That I think, yeah, that was a brief overview over some of our experiences and over some of our twin activities in Leipzig. This is my last slide with a link to the CAD Academy. It's an outcome of our CAD project. You can find there many webinars about certain topics from our projects. These are small YouTube videos, and most of them also are provided with English subtitles. So far, I hope it wasn't too long.
Thanks very much, Christoph, and also for being on time.
Okay.
And thank you so much for illustrating this case study and for providing already quite a wealth of information. If it's okay with you, we can share the slides with all the participants. And thank you also for providing the links to all these videos and these resources.
For sure.
Do we have any questions already? Either you can raise your hand or leave them in the chat, perhaps for Christoph to address.
Yes. Hello?
Yes, please, Stefano.
Yes, my name is Stefano Bonfa. I am from Oxford Sustainable Development Enterprise based in Rome, and we are working on the concept of positive energy. Now, in order to have this digital twinning positive energy, you need data. You need also computational. You need also, sharing all this issue, and you need the precision So what we are doing, we try to move from, let's say, the concept of sharing data to the concept of using neurophysics, where this is a new technology that will support on having, all these issues that I just mentioned. Add that, we're trying to add that also quantum computing. In other words, in order to have a positive energy, and we are in a pilot project, we need more than cooperation of data, sharing data, etc., etc. But anyhow, I will very much appreciate your presentation, and it will be possible to have your contact. Thank you.
For sure. For sure, I can share my contact. I will provide my email address in the chat.
Just as a reminder to everyone in the audience, we are going to have a presentation on the matchmaking platform right afterwards, which means it's an opportunity for everyone here in the room to connect. So I already saw a couple people in the chat who are interested in sharing their contacts. This is really great. This matchmaking platform, as Sarah will present afterwards, will provide the opportunity to connect further afterwards.
But besides that, I want to thank Stefano for the comment, because he's absolutely right. I showed you on the map the plurality of data, or some of the data we used for the Energy Atlas. And as I said, we don't need only the data. We also need need somebody who's able to do some analysis and simulations for us. And this does not only mean we need some data scientists, persons who are able to work with data. We also need experts in the related topics, in that case, energy and climate adaptation. We also we realized it with university institutions, but other institutions or organizations are possible for that. Yeah, but he's absolutely right.
Yeah, thank you very much, Christoph. Perhaps just one more question on my side, because you mentioned, of course, this collaboration with the cities of Munich and the city of Hamburg. Can you please maybe quickly, very briefly, because we're kind of behind, tell the audience sort of what is the added value of collaborating with these other cities, and what has that done for your project?
We started with the project in 2021. Digital twins were at that moment not very common. Not many cities have already digital twins, and to do it together was a chance for us to shape the use cases in a way that the use cases fit to several cities. It's not over specific for the one city. It's necessary to do it together to have a common view on the problem, to add city specificities, and from there on to create something that is usable together, and in the best case that can be shared with other cities. That's why it's good to think about use cases not alone.
Yeah, thank you. That's very clear. Thanks so much, Christoph. And so now that we had a bit of an understanding of how some of these use cases work, I'd like to go back to presenting the third strand of work of call 2. So I'm just gonna share my screen once more. So now we've seen the strands 1 and 2. We would like now to just very briefly turn to what is the opportunity regarding work strand 3 on developing advanced AI-driven services built on local digital twins. So this is really a more AI-focused, let's say, part of the calls. And it's very similar to the other two in that it also it also aims to participate in the federation of LDTs, as we saw the importance of connecting across digital twins to create this federation. And additionally, it enables the creation of a technical alignment of European cityverse developments with this really specific AI focus and services around AI that can support interactive simulations and stakeholder engagement processes. So it aims to integrate advanced analytical capabilities into LDTs. It aims to contribute to reusable AI services, algorithms, and data models to the LDT4SSC assets and service repository, and to develop advanced AI-driven services that are built on local digital twins. So really, this is where the distinction comes from. And of course, why shall we apply to Workstrand 3 in this case? Again, the same reasons are quite evident here, of course, here in this case to really lead the frontier of AI integration and really position the community or the city at the cutting edge by implementing advanced predictive, prescriptive, and diagnostic AI that transforms raw data into actionable insights for things such as climate, mobility, and energy. Humanizing your data with Cityverse, so just really bringing that LDT more into more than just a dashboard and making it more practical by using immersive visualizations and participatory tools. Of course, to monetize and fund innovation, so to access specialized funding around this area, and to collaborate, of course. This is, of course, the aim across all the work strands, but of course here with this focus on integrating peer-reviewed AI tools to create a more well-rounded, resilient, and urban digital ecosystem. So now that we have seen this work strand, I'm happy to introduce Mr. Marco Pistore from the Kessler Foundation to present a use case around AI from the city of Bologna. So here, I believe I will have the control of the presentation, so please let me know when to change slides.
But Laura, maybe we can try, I can try to share the slides so that I don't have to...
Please. Yeah, absolutely.
Let's try. If it does not work...
Yeah, and just to be clear, please keep it to 15 minutes as we are running a little bit behind, but I trust that there will be...
Sorry, I believe I shared the wrong tab. Okay, I'll do my best to stay in the 15 minutes. So, and thank you for this opportunity to share with you the Bologna Digital Twin project. I'm working in a research center, but the project is a municipality project. So I'll try to speak as much as I can on behalf of the municipality. So my idea here is to present the project, to do 2 short deep dives into the platform we are developing and the data governance strategy we are rolling out, and then wrap up and conclude. So on the project presentation, well, luckily enough, I don't have to introduce digital twins in general terms, thanks to the colleague from the Leipzig city. What I want to stress here is the specific aspect. 3 years ago, the city of Bologna wanted for their digital twin. That is, they wanted a civic digital twin. This means a digital twin that is serving as a civic infrastructure, and in particular that addresses the specific goal of involving citizens in urban planning processes and in collaborative decision processes. So this civic aspect is the one we concentrated on more. And the reason the city of Bologna was so clear on this goal is similar to the one the colleague from Leipzig mentioned before. 3-4 years ago, there were not so many examples of digital twins, and most of the examples we got were from the industrial brand of digital twins. And industrial digital twins with their attentions to 3D represent... I'm actually not seeing my slide. Is this just me, or... Are you seeing my slide, or?
Yes, we
okay.
Yes, I am.
Yes, I am. Okay, going back to the presentation. Industrial digital twins are a good example since they focus on the physical aspect, on the 3D aspect of an object. This is very important for the city, but it is not enough since cities are not machines to be regulated or processes to be optimized. They are ecosystems in continuous evolutions, and citizens are not gears. They are active users. They are active actors in the city. And actually, the city is changing our life, of course. It is giving boundaries to our activities and constraints, but we are also shaping the city with our life, with the way we change behavior and the way we live our city. So it was very important for Bologna to capture those aspects, which means representing people behaviors and social dynamics, which are complex, require cognitive science competencies, social science competencies, complex system competencies, and so on. They also wanted to make it sure that the digital twin was a tool to be used with the citizens, with interfaces that non-experts were able to understand, like in the example from Leipzig. But they also wanted to actively engage citizens in taking decisions on the future of the city. And then once the decision is taken together, the hope is that the citizens are more active in changing their behavior to reflect the decision. For this reason, they launched a project involving essentially only research and innovation partners. The University of Bologna, they are one of the top universities in Italy on AI. Cineca, they provide computational infrastructures to the Italian research and innovation ecosystem. My institution, Fondazione Bruno Kessler, we have a long-term expertise in AI, but also in modeling, analyzing, and simulating socio-technical systems. And the Fondazione Innovazione Urbana, they work on urban innovation, in particular in Bologna. The project is supported by the National Research Center on HPC and Big Data, but we also built and are strengthening a broader collaboration with European cities, with international universities, and with European initiatives like the Local Digital Twin Initiative that is hosting us today. I'll skip this. I want to spend a couple of minutes on the use cases, since these illustrate, I believe, the civic nature of the digital twin. Well, mobility is a typical use case for urban digital twins. Bologna is one of the cities which committed to become zero emission by 2030, and mobility is contributing to emissions. So mobility has to change in the city of Bologna. The city wants to use the digital twin to understand what is the impact of possible regulations or policies on mobility beforehand, with the simulation of what-if scenarios, and to engage citizens in these. This requires modeling traffic and mobility dynamics, that's the physical part, but it also requires modeling people's behavior. The city is deploying a tramway, but the level to which citizens will switch from private vehicles to tram is in the hands of citizens. So the behavioral rigidity or willingness to change behaviors of citizens is very important to understand the impact of this. Even more, if we increase the cost to access mobility in terms of money, but also in terms of time required to move, well, the impacts will not be fair. There will be categories of citizens, the vulnerable groups, which have less money or less time, that will be affected in an unequal way. And it is important for Bologna to evaluate this and to try to change mobility in a fair, in a just way, to preserve for all citizens the right to move. And this also requires social analysis on vulnerable groups, on fragilities. Another example, heat waves. In this case, Bologna, as many other European cities, is affected by heat waves during the summer. Also here, the goal is to understand the impact of heat waves on citizens and city users, and also to understand how to mitigate this effect. Now, to understand the impact on our life of heat waves, of course, we need to understand the physical city, the measured city. We need to understand where heat islands are placed, so what are the hot areas of the city, but we also have to understand the exposure of the different citizens to heat. So the problem of heat waves is that we collect stress when we are exposed to heat, and we are not able to disperse this stress. And this is particularly true for people who live and work in hot areas of the city, for people who don't have time and possibility to spend some time in cool areas like parks or in water. So it is very important to understand also the perceived or lived city, how city behaves in the city, and what are how citizens behave in the city, and what are the behaviors that expose them more to heat stress. Both the measured city and the perceived city, the behavior of people, are important to plan potential future actions to mitigate cities. Of course, we can increase the green, but we can also change the timetable of the city. We can introduce the siesta to reduce the exposure of people to heat waves. So you see, in both cases, mobility and heat waves, we have the physical and the social component that are both represented, and this is general for Bologna. Now, very rapidly on the technical solution, you see a very rough architecture here. At the bottom level, we have the execution part, which is both HPC and cloud. Then we have the data and AI platform. I will spend some time on it in the next slides. This supports development and deployment of AI and non-AI models. These models are in the layer, models and algorithms layer, where first of all, we cover not just AI, but also simulation and model-based approaches, and we target fair and robust AI solutions, also participating to one of the AI regulatory sandbox projects. And on top of this, we have use cases. Now on the data platform, I'll try to be very quick. So the platform is the technological foundation of the city of Bologna. It has to provide the support for data management, for analysis, but in particular for decision making. And I want to stress this aspect here. Supporting decision making means to support all the phases and to be able to track and be accountable for all the phases that go from the identification of a problem to the translation of this problem into a query or a prompt or a question for the digital twin. We have to deal with the input data, with algorithms and models, with the parameters, with the outputs of the digital twin, and also on how we transform this output, which is usually a trade-off analysis of different scenarios, into a decision. And it is very important to trace all of these, since if decisions are enacted, we can monitor the city and see if things evolve as planned. We decide to act on mobility. We can trace if mobility and emissions are changing as expected. In many cases, this will not happen. So we have to go back and check what went wrong, whether the input data or the model or the interpretation of the outputs were wrong, or something changed in the context, to be able to readapt the strategy to the new situation and the new knowledge we are gaining. The platform is open source, cloud-based. Of course, it is also it allows for integrating the enablers like the ones Carl Philipp presented at the beginning. It supports data analysis exploration. It supports notebooks for developing interactive workflows that are very useful in the exploration phase, but it also supports the translation of these notebooks into robust workflows that are executed in the execution environment with control on lineage, on traceability, and on resource usage. And then, of course, the output of these analysis and simulation tasks are returned as visualizations, as data sets to be shared, but also as services and APIs for vertical applications. A concept I will come back in a couple of slides is the concept of being an open source platform. But I will comment on this once I have given you 2 or 3 details on the data governance strategy, since I believe this provides a very nice example for my comment on the open source aspect of the platform. Now, data governance, the municipality of Bologna realized that they have to change their approach to data management and data governance, since not only digital twins, but also AI really changes the setting. These disruptive technologies require continuous cross-domain data usage, and the municipality has to change the approach to match the challenges of these disruptive technologies. In particular, they have to move from an open data ecosystem to a broader ecosystem where data sharing is enabled among different actors, public actors, private actors, research actors, and in particular, they have to move beyond the open data paradigm they are pushing very much. Bologna is one of the very good organizations in Italy for open data. They also need to support profiled and purpose-bound data sharing to have all the capabilities to analyze and understand the city. And the data governance for Bologna is the rule book that allows to manage this data ecosystem, defining access, usage, responsibilities, sharing of the data, not only from Bologna, but from all the partners. The digital twin offers the technical support for this. It allows to ingest data from the municipality of Bologna and for third parties, both structured data and all the data the Italian municipalities and administrations have on Excel files, on access databases, and so they need to be injected and become part of a data lake, which is provided by the digital twin. And then with this data, we can publish new open data, we can share profile data through a marketplace, and we can deliver analytics and simulation services. Now, the data lake in the digital twin is based on a specific technology right now, the Minio technology, which is an open source implementation of a standard for data lakes, the S3 standard. When we decided to adopt Minio 3 years ago at the beginning of the project, I think it was a good move. Minio was a very strong open source technology, but in the 3 years, they moved more and more towards a freemium model. The community part of Minio, well, many interesting features were removed from the community part of it. And currently, Minio is no longer maintained. This is what is written in the GitHub repository. Now, building an open source solution requires effort, since these things happen more than once, not just for Minio. So it is important for us, it was important for Bologna to base their platform on open source solution, but also to have a team dedicated to the selection, integration, and lifecycle management of this open source solution. Minio is not an ideal solution at the moment, so we need to replace it, and we need to have the conditions for this replacement, that is interoperability, standards, but we also need to have the competencies to change it with other open source solutions, or also to develop our own solutions if needed. I want to conclude here trying to link what you saw with the initiative organized today. Well, clearly, differently from the Leipzig example, the Bologna example is a case of an inside-out innovation. In the beginning, Bologna focused on the inside. They wanted to push as much as possible the driving innovation for their project, the centrality of the civic aspects of modeling citizens, of engaging citizens. They wanted an open source solution without any form of lock-in, not even the soft lock-in that comes from European projects. And they wanted to promote a very strong cooperation between the city and the technical partners of the project. But now we are moving in the out part of the inside-out loop. There is a robust foundation for usage and collaborations. We invested a lot on interoperability and standards, but this has to be validated by making the solution interoperable and checking if the standards are indeed aligned with all the standards, including the minimal interoperability mechanisms for LDTs. Open source communities are very important. We have to be part of a broader ecosystem to ensure sustainability of our open source solutions. We need to strengthen partnerships and collaborations. So we look to these open calls we just discussed today as an opportunity to do this. And again, I will finish here, and I want to thank again the organizers for inviting me here and for offering me the opportunity to present this initiative, in particular in this moment where networking, sharing, reusing is getting more and more relevant. I hope I was not too long.
That's okay. Thank you so much, Marco. Thank you for your presentation, and also thank you for illustrating a potential use case that is quite, let's say, could potentially be aligned to Work Strand 3. And this is also a great platform to understand if there is other potential partners that could help to scale up this solution further in order to enable more of this interoperability. And yeah, if there is, we were running a little bit behind, so please feel free to leave your questions in the chat, and we will address them as we go. We already saw a couple, and so thank you very much already for your questions. If you also have questions for Marco, also feel free to put them in the chat, and we will address them, and Marco can also address them afterwards. Yeah, indeed. So for the next part, we would like to provide a bit of practical information on Open Call 2 in terms of the sort of application procedure and also financial eligibility. So I will now give the floor to my colleague Adriana, who will present on this aspect. So if you'd like, Adriana, I can share my screen again.
Yes, if you can please share the slides. Hello, everyone. My name is Adriana Bado. I will briefly walk you through some of the practical aspects of the call for pilots, in particular the funding structure, the grant rules, and the eligibility requirements. I will start with the funding structure on the next slide and highlight the key figures. 17 million euros is the total budget available for the pilots, which will be distributed across approximately 15 to 20 selected consortia and the 3 work strands that Laura presented earlier. The indicative allocations per work strand are as follows: 2.1 million euros for one, 5.8 million for work strand 2, and 2.9 million for work strand 3. The program operates under a 50-50 co-funding model. Up to 50% of eligible costs are covered by LDT4SSC. The remaining 50% must be covered by the consortium partners through their own financial resources. On the next slide, there are a few important grant rules to keep in mind. The maximum grant per beneficiary across pilots is 500,000 euros. 1 million euro is the maximum cumulative grant amount per consortium. In terms of eligible costs, direct costs may include personnel, subcontracting, and purchase costs. Indirect costs are eligible at a flat rate of 7% of total direct costs. All costs must be actual, incurred during the pilot period, and fully compliant with applicable EU regulations, including state aid rules and the prevention of double funding. The call for pilot manuals are available on the project website, www.LDT4SSC.eu, and you can also scan the QR code. In terms of eligibility, which is on the next slide, as mentioned by my colleague, participation is open to local and regional authorities. as well as other relevant partners such as research organizations, SMEs, technology providers. But each pilot consortium must include at least 2 public authorities from 2 different eligible countries and at least 1 additional partner. Eligible countries include member states, include overseas territories, also Norway, Iceland, Liechtenstein, and other countries associated with the Digital Euro program. Thank you for your attention. Please feel free to post any questions in the chat or reach out to us afterwards if you have any further questions. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Adriana. So, of course, all of these details are highlighted in the call manual, which you can find on the website. On the website, you will also find all the relevant documentation that is needed, and all the details are there. Of course, if you have any questions, you can always reach out to us, and Sarah will later present some of the details regarding this. Of course, thanks for putting some questions in the chat regarding some of these practicalities. Now I would like to introduce Laura from our consortium from Cerema to illustrate a little bit more on the technical and non-technical requirements regarding these different strands. So Laura, please feel free to come in.
Yes. Hello, everyone. I'm also Laura, but from Cerema, and so thank you everyone for joining this session this morning. In this new section of the presentation, I will walk you through over the next 10 minutes the key requirements, recommendations, and expectations for pilots planning to apply for one of the 3 work streams in this second open call. I'm going to try to make the presentation pretty practical and for it to be helpful for applicants and while you're applying and preparing your submission, so that it's strong, and hopefully it can also help understand the differences between the 3 work strands that have already been presented by Laura earlier in the presentation. So these requirements and recommendations, their purpose is to translate the project's objective into concrete expectations for pilots. So in that way, they exist so that the funded pilots deliver interoperable, replicable, and sustainable results that can be later integrated into the wider EU LDT ecosystem, as explained earlier by Carl Philipp. And so in that sense, it's a condition pilots must meet to be eligible, selected, and funded. And so demonstrating that you already meet them or plan to meet them in your work plan is essential upon application to be selected. It affects the eligibility check, which is the first pass-fail check done during the pre-screening of the application, and it also will be evaluated during the evaluation process by the evaluation committee. So you should really think of these requirements as a baseline and the recommendation then are there to strengthen the applications. So where to find these requirements? They are in a chapter of the Call for Pilot manual. There is, as Laura was saying right before this, 1 manual per work strand, and there's a full chapter dedicated to these requirements. And then there's also a secondary source. You can find them in the Knowledge Hub. It's not yet up to date. There's only a cheat sheet for the first work strand, but it should be updated. And while I'm speaking about the Knowledge Hub, I would really recommend you go and visit it while you're building your application, because it has a lot of supporting material that can help you understand the strategy, the project's mission, the long-term sustainability strategy. And there's also a presentation of a lot of different initiatives in the Smart Communities ecosystem. And yeah, overall, a lot of pilot guidance and technical and non-technical resources, methodologies, and I know reference architectures for a more technical view. So that can really help consolidate your applications. Yes. So on this next slide, I'm going to dive a bit deeper into the concrete recommendations and requirements. So as it says on the slides, there are 24 requirements and recommendation. This is for the first work strand. There's a few more for the second and third work strand. We have organized these in 4 dimensions, which are pretty chronological. There's pilot details, relevance, implementation, and impact. And that is the way they are presented in the manual. All of the requirements are mandatory. I've said this already. And then the recommendations are only useful to improve the application. So on pilot details, this is requirements about the essential administrative and technical information about the pilot and its information on its current state. There's requirements on digital maturity. I will go a bit, explain that a bit more straight after. Same goes for the use cases to develop to have added value through the LDT and the services developed there. There's requirements about the current technical and functional architectures if there are already existing systems in the public authorities. Requirements about the current and target data governance and the current use of AI or extended reality technologies. Then moving on to relevance, that is why the pilot matters, with requirements on alignment with local and EU priorities, requirements about the project management, staffing, and political endorsement, about the end user engagement and overall stakeholder involvement across stakeholders of the quadruple helix, the potential transferability, replicability of the results, and the use of EU technology from initiatives in the ecosystem. Moving on to the requirements under the implementation dimensions, there are requirements about the methodology and the approach to the implementation, technical and non-technical, of the pilot's project. Requirements about interoperability and engagement with the MIMS Plus. And last but not least, there are requirements on impact. So the reasoning for the project, for the work strand one on the interconnection, the second one on requirements on why it's how it's a common need, and work strand 3 on the use of AI. There are also requirements on the benefits and the impact of the project, on the contractual framework for data sharing and other topics, as well as requirements on expected outputs and scaling post-pilot. Yeah, next slide. Oh, as I said, I wanted to present also a few requirements a bit more in depth, which can help also differentiate the different work strands. So regarding the entry ticket for digital maturity in the public authorities part of the pilot applicants, for the first work strand, we are looking for consortiums where each of the 2 mandatory public authorities already operate digitally mature LDTs. For the work strand 2, there is no need for already operating LDTs. And in work strand 3, there needs to be at least 1 digital mature LDT. We also define what we mean by digitally mature LDT, which is having an LDT that can be supported by a data space with at least descriptive level capabilities. There's more information about this in the manual, of course, and this LDT needs to integrate dynamic data and already provide service for the community. Then regarding the use case, we define the use case as the concrete user-centered scenario in which the LDT or federation of LDTs delivers one or more service to tackle a real local challenge. It must not be, that's how we understand it in the scope of this project. And so for the first work strand, there must be two use cases, also, which is also a reason for the interconnection. And for the next two work strands, there needs to be one use case with two services, and in this context, a service is a mean for a public administration to support public activities and help the decision-making process, and it shouldn't be confused with the technical definition of a service in this case. And finally, for the technical implementation, this is only one requirement, for one or two requirements. There are more in the manual. For the first work strands, pilots must interconnect also using the simple data space governance authority agent. And for the work strand 2 and work strand 3, we wanted to press the fact that it needs to be a common need, and it needs to have two instances of the LDT so that each public authority can access their own instance at the end of the project. And of course, the LDT must have advanced capabilities and be able to simulate scenario. It mustn't be only a descriptive level LDT at the end of pilot implementation. Okay, so now I finished going a bit more in depth and presenting these three examples of requirements, thematic areas. And now I'm going to go into more practical information and tell you how you can demonstrate compliance with these requirements. First of all, upon application, by filling out the application form that you can find on the website on the second open call tab. And during the project, it's while submitting pilot deliverables and reports, and of course being compliant with these requirements, condition payment. And I will let Laura, I think, present more in depth the eligibility criteria.
Okay, thank you very much, Laura, and for the very clear walking through these requirements. It's a lot of information, so of course we're going to be here to answer more questions. Between now and of course the next few weeks. But here, just to kind of give you an idea of what the eligibility criteria are and how they are broken down. So basically, meeting these criteria is important to then be evaluated on the aspects regarding impact, quality, and relevance. The important thing, of course, is to demonstrate that all the required documents and ownerships, control declarations have been submitted, and that all the questions have been answered. Importantly, also to demonstrate that the consortium consists of at least 2 local or regional public administrations from different eligible countries, together with additional partners drawn from the following categories that we have presented earlier. Additionally, financially, it's important to demonstrate that the pilot consortium covers at least 50% of the pilot budget as co-financing. And I saw a question in the chat regarding how this 50% should be demonstrated. This is demonstrated as a whole in the consortium. It doesn't mean that every partner in the consortium needs to demonstrate 50% by itself. The 50% needs to be demonstrated as a whole. The support requested shouldn't be higher than €1,000,000 per consortium, and the support required shouldn't be more than €500,000 per third parties across the pilots. Additionally, we've discussed, of course, the technical and non-technical aspects as presented by Laura. And yeah, of course, through the application form, the demonstration of degrees of digital maturity needs to be presented. And of course, yeah, the descriptive level, at least the descriptive level capabilities and dynamic data integration. And of course, this varies in terms of work strand, as explained earlier by Laura as well. And finally, the ethics and data protection self-assessment needs to be completed and submitted through a form that you can also find on the website. So this is basically it regarding the practical aspects on eligibility and on the technical and non-technical requirements. And now, of course, comes the more, let's say, yeah, the part that will enable you to seek that kind of support and to make sure that you have the right tools at your disposal to make sure that to ensure a successful application. And here I give the word to Sara to explain a little bit what kind of support this entails.
Thank you, Laura. So good morning, everyone. I'm Sara Sebastiano from the European Network of Living Labs and all. And now I will briefly introduce to you the tools that we have created and implemented to support your applications, in this case for the second round of open calls. So first of all, some of you might know about this already. We have this mailbox, help desk mailbox, info@LDT4SSC.eu, that we use to gather all the requests that are then routed to topic-specific experts within the consortia. So each request will receive a response within 2 working days to ensure timely and reliable support throughout the application and implementation phases. Next slide, please. So the matchmaking platform, we have already mentioned this throughout the presentation. The LDT4SSC matchmaking platform helps you to build your consortia, and on the platform you can present your organization, find cities, regions, SMEs, research organizations, NGOs, and tech providers, and you can also create or join consortium proposals. So I've shared in the chat already the link to the matchmaking platform, and you will see that once you open the page, you will be able to register, and then you can start creating or joining already existing proposals. If it is not clear how to do it, we also have a dedicated tutorial, which is available on our website, and you can access it and have a look. In case there's any questions, you can reach out to us, of course. The next slide. Okay, so we will also have a matchmaking event, which can be an interesting opportunity for you to meet other organizations that are interested in applying for this second round of open calls. It will be on the 5th of March, and we will share with you the registration link soon. Moving on, we also have the Knowledge Hub, which was mentioned by Laura before. It is important because it's a way to support the applicants and the funded pilots. And you can find here both technical and non-technical resources. So the technical resources, which include standards, tools, and frameworks for interoperable local digital twin deployment, aligned with European interoperability frameworks, and the non-technical resources, which provide guidance on governance, legal, and ethical aspects. Here I have put the link, and then you will be able to access it in the slides, and I will share it with you later on as well, so that you can explore all the resources for pilots already available in the Knowledge Hub. Okay, so if you want to get in touch with us, of course, we have the mailbox info@LDT4SSC.eu. You can sign up to our newsletter, visit our website, follow us on our LinkedIn account. And another important point that I wanted to highlight is we have also developed this survey to share a feedback on the resources that we have available on the Knowledge Hub, and then I will share in the chat the link with you. So if you want, you can complete it and let us know what is working and what we can still improve in these regards. And now we will have a dedicated time to a Q&A session, so you can raise your hands and I can just give you the floor to ask your question, or just write them in the chat and we will address them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, I'm Stefano Bonfa. I was, let's say, discussing the idea of introducing on the, let's say, on the strand 3, I think it is. Yes. The question is related, I don't know, with Bologna case studies, because they have developed, let's say, a digital twinning. So we are trying to implement the concept of surrogated AI digital twinning, so repeated the same experience in other cities in a way that you're using the same, let's say, approach, then you replicate it in the territorial area. The question is the concept of surrogate AI, how they think they can exploit the case study in other areas. This is possible, and the reason is why we are implementing similar idea in Italy. For example, we do have a case study without no data, but we have already, let's say, a case study with advanced tools that we would like to replicate in other areas. This means the concept of surrogate AI. I don't know if this is clear because it's a little bit complicated, yes.
Thank you for your question. I don't know, maybe if Laura, you have any points on this aspect.
Sorry, I thought this was a question for the presenter of the second.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Oh, my bad. Sorry.
Okay, then I take up this question. Frankly, I'm not sure I got the concept of surrogated AI. I would be interested to understand more. Of course, so for what I understood, so the concept is that in AI, you have two different phases, the training phase and the inference phase. And the same is true also for the models you do in a digital twin. So it is very important to tune the models, to define the models, to validate the models in an environment that is data rich and where there is a specific knowledge on the phenomenon at hand. But then for this experiment to be successful and scalable, you need to be able to transfer what you learned to new locations where you are not data rich, you don't have already results to validate. Yes. So this transfer to areas that are not so rich is very important. So what we say in Bologna is that our digital twin is special for Bologna, but not specific for Bologna. So it is designed with the Bologna spirit in mind, but it has not to die in Bologna. It has to be replicated. So in case you want to share with me some deeper insight about the idea you have, I'll be more than happy to
okay, I will be in touch with you and then we discuss on details. Thank you very much.
And thank you for the question.
Thank you very much. Is there any other questions at the moment? I see that a lot of people have left questions in the chat. What we will also do is we will take a lot of the questions that have been asked and we will place them in a dedicated Q&A page on the website so that all of these answers will not go lost. Yeah, I'm trying to see if there is any of the questions that haven't been answered. Otherwise, so I see that there is a question on whether it is mandatory that a third city from a third country or a second city within the countries is represented in the consortium. So the idea is that there is at least 2 countries in the consortium. So if there is another city that would like to take part, that city can be from either one of those 2 countries. However, it is important that at least 2 countries are represented. And
I have a question, please. Sorry. It wasn't very clear to me if the local authority should already have a digital twin or not. Yeah.
So of course, it is preferable. I mean, in terms of the digital maturity, it's preferable that the cities already have at least for the second strand, if this is what you're referring
Yes.
to, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
For the second strand, it is not mandatory to have a local digital twin, but if you already have a digital twin in place, that certainly helps. The idea, however, is that it still needs to be developed jointly with another city, but the
Yes.
infrastructure that exists definitely already helps. So it is definitely not a minus if you already have a local digital twin in place, because it is still recommended to have a certain level of digital maturity in place.
Oh, okay. No, we don't. That's why I was asking is if it's mandatory. Okay.
No, so it's not mandatory to have a local digital twin in place for the second work strand.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any further questions? Any last? Okay. Then I believe we can close it here. And of course, feel free to reach out again to us, and we will hopefully see some of you at the matchmaking event, which is definitely a great opportunity to match with other partners who are interested in creating consortia. And of course, obviously, it's not necessary to wait until the matchmaking event to already start forming partnerships through the matchmaking platform. So again, feel free to reach out to us with any questions, and we will definitely see some of you soon.